Hello everyone. As you can see here, this is my last Christmas gift of the year to someone special, and that's my Grammostola Rosea, the Chilean Rose, my first tarantula, the first tarantula I've ever owned. Her name's Queen. She molted in my care about I think March of 2012, so she's probably around 5.5 inches right now, close to 6 inches. I'm thinking more around the 5.5 mark. But she's gonna get bigger than that, I believe. If she doesn't, that's fine too. But this is a gift for her. I've always wanted to give her a little more space. She's the most active of my roseas. I have 3 of them, and all of them are, pretty close in temperament. Maybe just a shade more aggressive and more docile, given the day. But she's the most consistent, and she kind of moves around our enclosure a lot, so I've always wanted to give her more room ever since I first got her. So here she is right here. She's waiting to go in, so I'm going to try to get as much as I can of her getting put in here for the first time. And there she is, Queen. This is my first tarantula I've ever owned, and she's very, very special to me. This is by far the most prized of my collection, just because she was my first one. She's the one that got me into the hobby, and had she been difficult, I don't know if I would be in the hobby right now. She was just perfect for me at the time to make me curious about other tarantulas, and I thank her for that. She's a very sweet tarantula. She looks a little small in there, but she actually will use every inch of this thing, and this is the room I've always wished I could have given her a while back. I just didn't have the space, but she will do fine in here. She gets restless and likes to go for long walks and constantly is moving around and climbing, and I always want to give her more room, so now she has it. She has the 10-gallon tank for her, and she'll do great in here. She's a very beautiful specimen. I always call her a textbook Rosea because she's what a Rosea looks like if you picture it, just your common basic Rosea. This is her. Rump's a little fat. She possibly in pre-molt. She, like I said, she molted last year around March, so she's due up for one if she is in fact going to molt every year. I got her around 4 inches long, so I'm not sure how our pattern is, was going before that, but she's been eating, not showing any odd behavior, hasn't fasted at all. She's kind of slowed down a little bit with the crickets. She normally takes around 2 to 3 a week if I wanted to give it to her, but she here lately has been satisfied with just 1 cricket, so that's a little different from her. She's normally a beast. She'll eat anything I put in there. But I'm gonna do a feeding this weekend, and I'll probably put her back on there just to show you how she's doing it here. So look at that shadow. This is actually the next morning now for my IG Rosea, and she's climbing up here. I really haven't settled on what I wanted to do for this enclosure. I just gave her something temporary. Everything in here is temporary for right now. I know I'm going to keep what I call her little house back there that I made, and I think I'm going to expand on that idea. I want to give her about 12 hours to see how she kind of got used to this enclosure, and she's used every inch of it already, so that's a good sign. She likes it. She's been webbing up, as you can see there. Alright everyone, this is the final setup for the Grammostola Rosea's new enclosure, the 10-gallon tank. I really made it look like, I tried to make it look like a ruin of some kinds, maybe a Mayan ruin or something out of a fantasy movie or something like that. I actually call it the SHIRE ruins, and I put this together just by I wanted to fill the space up a little bit until she gets a little bigger, if she gets a little bigger. But I don't really think I need to put anything else in here. She actually uses every inch of it. She's loving it so far. You can see her right there in her house that I built her. I actually call that her house. It's got a giant leaf on top to shade it, and got her some broken columns there. She's got a Easter Island statue over there with a rock, and I got moss and you know, several places make it look a little more realistic, and some very thin branches that are placed in here that kind of fill in the backdrop and give it a little bit more of a depth to it. For anybody who's a beginner, this is all unnecessary stuff. The tarantula doesn't care if any of this stuff is in here. I just did it because it's a big giant piece in my room, or in my collection now, and I wanted to fill up the space just a little bit. So she's actually using all this. Actually, I'm gonna put another little small water dish over here because she spends a lot of her time over here. But she's got one here, and I'll put one on the other side, so she'll have one on each side. The one on the other side will be a little smaller. This one is to keep the humidity up a little bit for her, but she doesn't mind it. She's been webbing and climbing and using everything, and so I'm happy about that. I wasn't sure how she would take to all this, but really she loves it. I put her in here because she is my first tarantula that I ever got. She's the one that got me in the hobby. I named her Queen for a reason, and she's been doing great in my care for the past year. I got her a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, so it's been great having her. I've learned a lot from her, and I thought she deserved to have the biggest enclosure, even though she's not even the biggest of my Roseas. My biggest Rosea is actually right there. That's the brown color form. It's got the dark brown carapace up there, and she did not get this enclosure just because I wanted to spoil my first tarantula. She gets it, and quite frankly, I doubt if my camera jar is on the move there. This is my other Rosea right here. They don't move that much. They're pet rocks. They pretty much stay in the same spot all day. This one here is Perseus. She pretty much is very much happy just sitting and not doing much. The brown color form moves around a bit, as you can see. This is actually Queen's old enclosure that she's in right now, and she moves around a little bit. This is actually abnormal for her. She normally doesn't move around this much, so I thought I'd put her in here. I even thought about putting my calicodes in there. She's in here somewhere, but I thought this would be perfect for Queen, and she's been loving it. I'm glad to see her walking around and enjoying it. And it's pretty much done. I might add a couple more things or take a couple things out and as we go along and see how she's doing. But this is it. So she's loving it so far, and it was a work in progress. Took a while to get it all done, see how she would like it, and everything seems to be working properly. So far so good. Alright guys, have a good one. Thanks for watching.